Hey Josh, you're quick off the mark. How you doing? How you doing, Indy Piper? And good evening, Horatio. Can you see a difference in the quality of the picture using my new iPhone? And the sound hopefully will be better as well. I hope that's coming through clearer than before. Hey Indy. Good evening, Paul. How are you? Hope you've had a good weekend so far. How's everybody been? Josh, I did catch your video earlier. Thank you for featuring one of my pipes. I hope it's treating you well. Good evening, Jacob. Welcome. Don't think I've seen you before. Thank you for joining. I hope you are well. You're getting a bit fed up with the state of life. Well, I think the whole world is pretty much had enough of the whole situation, but it's like everything in life, you know, we get presented with challenges throughout our lives. This is just one that's presented to the whole world. Congrats, Jacob, first live stream, cool. Interestingly, Mike at Briar Blues, he said that he wasn't able to stream live, and he had to go to Stream Apps, whatever, Streamlabs. I had that for a while myself, where it just would cut out after 10 seconds, and I went over to the Dreamlabs, and it was fantastic. It worked very, very well. And then after a few months, went back to YouTube, and it was all fine. And it's obviously a lot more straightforward to go straight from YouTube, but I reckon that YouTube operators around the world are having differing levels of restrictions in terms of their staffing levels. Must be having an effect on service generally. Yes, Paul, thank God I'm feeling pretty good. Getting, you know, the taste and smell is coming back very slowly, but it is coming back steadily. You tried the Drew Estate Shade, Indy? Excellent. It is a nice, smooth, easygoing cigar. Really good. So a few things I wanted to talk about. Number one, this pipe that you can see in front of you, this little mad, quirky pipe that I did recently. I've been looking at it, and it's been looking at me, and I'm thinking either to leave it like this, that it should be as quirky as it is, but I find that this is actually quite broad, and I was thinking that to basically match that, to bring the lines in there, and just to make it more that the shape looks a little bit more easy, pleasing on the eye. So almost it'll end up being like a pickaxe. I mean, it looks like a pickaxe here, but I was thinking of just bringing it in there and there. And I'm really interested in getting feedback off you guys as to whether I should leave this alone and sort of enjoy all of that bird's eye there, or whether just to bring the sides in a little bit, you know, just to take the edge off it to make it a more traditional pickaxe kind of shape. So I'd be interested in what you guys think. Good evening, Mike. How are you doing? I'm managing to bring have a shower. Very good tip, thank you, Mike. I mean, you seem to think that everybody wants you to isolate, but there's a reason they want you to isolate. Yeah, doing well, Mike. Thank you very much. Vision, you think I should bring it in? Okay. 4 more days. Wow, is it still 4 more days? It feels like you've been at it for longer. I bet it feels like it's longer. Mike, what do you reckon about this shape? Leave it as it is, or bring it in a little bit? The risk with everything, with the pipe, with going back to it, is that you might mess things up. So obviously I don't want to touch any of this. All of this sort of detail, I don't want to mess around with. So I'm really going to be, I want to try and sort of keep this line going and just bring it in a touch on each side. Any opinions, Mike? Yeah. I'm pretty sure that the shape will look better. It's just a question of whether I should mess around with it. I can put tape on it, but I can visualize it. I'll put some sellotape on it, which I've got handy here, and just so you can all have an idea. It's actually almost clear, this tape, but I think you'll still be able to get an idea. So, I mean, it really could do with even coming in a little bit more. Certainly on the right side. That kind of idea, something like that. I'm not worried about the bottom of the bowl. I left plenty of room on the bottom of the bowl, so I've just got to watch the thickness of the walls there, which I already had an issue there, so that's actually going to come in too much. I actually can't really take off that much more, to be honest. In actual fact, I think I'm going to leave it, because I'm just looking at the whole reason why this is a bit of a seconds is because that's too narrow. So if I come in, I'm going to be getting close to that thickness again. So I think I'm going to leave it. It's quirky and it'll stay quirky. It would have a bit of a flat bottom because I don't really want to make it rounded. Rounded, I think, would spoil the whole sort of idea, the whole design of the pipe. The pipe is there to have sharp lines. Hey, the Hat Piper. Hey, Chris Mercer. How are we all doing? I think I'm going to just leave it as it is. That's true as well. If I do that, then I'm going to lose that triangular shape as well. Yeah, I'm going to leave this. Definitely leaving it. It's just not worth taking the risk. So, not actually smoking at the moment. I did smoke a bit of a new mixture, which I mixed up earlier on, which was the... Where is it? It was Cornell & Deal, the 20th anniversary Dark Flake. Hey, Grobnob. Together with some Germain's 1820, which would have really brought in a really nice, rich, classic mixture. Just take a look at the colour of this 1820 flake. Look at that. Really lovely plume on it all over it. But it just goes to show the effect that air has, that oxygen has on the tobacco. If you look down there, it's just regular coloured tobacco. You look at the top, which has had more contact with the air, and look at that. So I took some of the 1820, mixed it with the 20th anniversary vapor, and it was quite nice. I wouldn't say it was love at first sight, but I think that I'm gonna possibly try add a third tobacco. I'm probably gonna add some of this, which I've been enjoying recently, the Scottish Autumn Flake, which is really nice and sweet, or possibly even some Amphora Virginia, which is nice and sweet. Add it in there and let it meld for a while, maybe 6 months or a year. Maybe dip into it from time to time to see how it's going, but I think I'm going to make a mixture like that. So I've got here with me my selection of my own blend tobaccos, which I just recently got. Excuse me. And I just need to decide which one I want to go with tonight. And we'll give that a first try here live. Thank you, Mike. I'm just going to put a jumper on. I didn't really enjoy the Semois. I've tried it. I didn't enjoy it. Very good grub knob. Okay, so the 333 is a Virginia with rum, and I've always had difficulty enjoying rum topped tobaccos. I just don't get the rum flavour. Hey Pasta, hey Pipes and Bees. And this one is Jubileum, which is this is a whiskey blend, and I've been enjoying whiskey blends recently as well. I've been enjoying the Solani Blend 131, really been enjoying that. Next one is Red Caledonian. This is a Virginia, Cavendish and Oriental, which I think kind of tickles my fancy. And the BS White is the Balkan Sobrani. I'm not going with that one. So I just had a Latakia earlier on, that 1820, so I'm not going to go with that. So it's the rum, the Virginia Cavendish Oriental, or the whiskey top. So I think I'm going to rule out the whiskey top because I've been enjoying those already. So we have the rum, or we have the Virginia Oriental. I'm going with the rum. I've been smoking quite a lot of Orientals as well recently, so something new. OGS, very good. These all come from the Danish Pipe Shop. The Danish Pipe Shop obviously don't ship overseas these days, so you need to have a contact essentially who's going to accept them for you in Denmark and then ship them over to you. And my contact is my neighbour, 2 doors down, comes from Denmark, which is very handy. And he arranged for his sister to send the stuff over. Okay, now the other thing I wanted to do, which is not ideal for testing a new tobacco, but it's to break in a new pipe. Now you remember that I recently purchased a Duncan Briars freehand, a plateau freehand, on eBay, and with the primary intention of converting it to 9mm. It has a plateau faced shank, so there was plenty of room for me to re-drill it with 9mm. The challenge was obviously to be able to make it look to be able to put a new stem on it, which would be sort of countersunk into that plateau, and without being able to stick it on the lathe and use a Forstner bit to create that sort of countersink. It was a challenge. I actually did it earlier this evening. I've recorded it and I'm going to upload it a little bit later on, so you'll be able to see the whole process from beginning to end pretty much. Well, anyway, here's the result. So this is you can see the Duncan freehand made in England. Really nice tight plateau. It's a big bowl, big old freehand. Doblon d'Oro, is that Savinelli tobacco? Yeah, that's a remote for my AC. And I put one of my own stems on it. I put a 9mm stem, and I bent it, shaped the bit, did all of that, and showed it all on the video. You'll be able to watch that a bit later on. After the live, I'll upload it. So essentially what I did was I drilled it from I think 7.5mm all the way up to 10.2mm, and I went from 7.5 to 8, 8.5, 9, I think from 9.5 to 10, and then 10.2. But the problem that I had was that this plateau is at an angle, and so when I put the stem in, it looked like this. So one half was countersunk, it was okay, and the other half was like that, it was sticking out because of that. So I had to find a way to countersink it without ruining it. And I tried different things. I actually put the Forstner bit on the end of my drill. I did the conversion by hand with a cordless drill and just stepped it up, drill bit to drill bit to drill bit, in order not to, if you go through straight from, this was about probably a 7mm drill initially, and if I would have gone straight up to 10, I could have risked cracking the shank, because it's too much of a shock to the shank to just go up to such a big size. So I went with about half a dozen drill bits, and it was okay. Even that at times I felt was a little bit too traumatic, I think, for the shank. The draft drill on this, which you find with a lot of factory-made pipes, was really very high, so I've also had to really sculpt the inside of the mortise and beyond that, so that when I put a filter in it, I still get a decent airflow. But it's not great, the drill, but there's nothing I can do about that. That's how I got the pipe. And so basically, I used my Dremel. I used the Dremel with a flat grinding bit, just to get a little bit of a shape, and then I changed the Dremel to a sanding drum, small mini sander, and I just worked my way around, and then just restained it. And it really came out fantastic. Very, very happy with it. So the first thing I need to do, well, first off, let's open up the tobacco so that it can dry out while I clean that out. A Virginia Burley Dark Fired. Yeah, it sounds like it's full and tasty. And you did another LHS restoration. Cool. Hey Tony, how are you? Pipe should be on its way. So we're going with a 333, which is a rum-topped Virginia. Oh, it's flakes. That's nice. I thought this would be a ribbon. So what I'm getting initially is a sort of a bready Virginia. I don't really get a major rum aroma in this. There is something there, but it just doesn't smell like rum. It's a little bit fruity, maybe a little bit figgy. Absolutely, Josh, I love flakes. Flakes are the way to go. A lot of it may just be aesthetics, because by the time you've rubbed it out, it's looking like a ribbon. But I don't know, I just find that the flavors, it may be in the mind, but I'm imagining that the flavors hold better together in a flake. When you break it up, that's fine, but if you have a ribbon, it's kind of all exploded out, and you know, it kind of is not melding it in that time. When you're maturing, if you leave this in a cellar or something like that, it's continuously married with each flake. All the components is married together. The humidity is pretty good. I mean, I reckon 2 or 3 minutes airtime and this is ready to go. I can't read Danish, so sorry. They could at least put it in English as well. Yes, that is an original Rogers tool. So although this does have a bowl coating, I'll still give it a little shot of honey. In the bottle is just a pipe sweetener. It's an alcohol-based sweetener. It's called Clean and Cure. It cleans, sweetens and deodorizes, by Pipe Masters. Made in Tampa, Florida. Contains alcohol. Keep away from the bowl finish. No. This is from America. I bought this in Boswell's, if I remember correctly. Or if I was Del Boy, I would say, it's a bit of creme de menthe, innit? Lovely jubbly. All right, Boise? All right, Dave. Rodney, you 24-carat plonker. That's, I've actually been going over some of the old, started it from the beginning. Really like Only Fools and Horses. Lul indeed, Paul. Looks like they were made for each other. Hey, Kev. How you doing? Have you christened any of them yet? You had me confused with the two separate addresses. I hope you got them both. I think you said that you did. When I got to the post office, I was with my son. I said, hang on a minute. I've got two the same names but different addresses. And I remembered vaguely you saying something about that, but I couldn't remember what it was. But in the end, sounds like you got them both, so happy for that. Martin? Who's Martin? Hey Couch, how you doing, Chad? Yeah, truth is, I could wipe this out with alcohol and get rid of the coating. I should really do that. I really prefer a bare bowl. My hands are all sticky now. Hey Suffolk. Chad is smashing, don't you know? Fresh honey indeed. It's runny honey. Give it another minute or two. So when you've got a naked bowl, which I don't always have, and most of the pipes that I do are bare, but occasionally, you know, especially if sometimes the walls are a bit thin, or just if the fancy takes me, I will do a bowl coating. Last couple of pipes that I shipped out did have bowl coatings, and just because it finished off the pipe, not because there was anything wrong with the bowl, but it just finished off the pipe really nicely. So the honey, for me, you know, everybody has their own way of starting a pipe to get the cake going. So in a naked bowl, I just run a little bit of a honey coating around it. That caramelizes, and it just helps start off a good carbon layer, and that's it. This one is the Duncan Briars, which I just converted to 9mm tonight and put one of my own stems on. I bent this evening, shaped it, and it worked out really well. I was nervous about that shank, but it just worked out very well. I've recorded a full video of the whole conversion from beginning to end, and I'll upload that a little bit later on. The drill on this pipe, I have to say, is a bit disastrous, I must be honest. So we'll see what the draw's like. I'm packing it really light because it was really quite tight with the filter in. But I've drilled it out a little bit more, so hopefully it'll be okay. Only problem with doing a honey coating is that it's a little bit sticky at the beginning, but that's done with once you've had your first pipe. I mean, some people, they'll literally just wet their finger and run it on the inside of the bowl. Some people will do nothing, just fill the bowl and smoke it. That's certainly what I did right in the beginning when I knew very little about pipes. I'm not sure where I got the idea of honey from, but as soon as I tried it, it made sense to me and it worked, and I've always done it since. All right, Peters and lighter. It is a big bowl. My tapper from Jordan. Still haven't broken any of his pipe that he sent me. Hey Terry. Hey Juicy J. despite its size, I've given it a pretty decent bend here. It's got a good centre of gravity. It's actually pretty good in half. Snarf Blatt. How you doing, Sea Smokes? How you doing? Well, to break in a pipe, usually, nowadays I'm not that fussy, but I used to always break it in with 40th anniversary. Hello, 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 which sounds a little bit frivolous, smoking such an amazing tobacco in a new pipe. But for me, I didn't always enjoy new pipes, depending on the briar, and a lot of times the briar flavour, the wood flavour didn't agree with me, so I would smoke a rich tobacco to overpower that. So unless I was smoking a Latakia blend, which would do the job, I usually smoked 40th anniversary because it's got a rich, full flavour. There was definitely some flavour there. Not sure I'd say it was rum. How long have you been smoking a pipe, Terry? The one I'm smoking now is this. It's the first time I'm smoking it. 40th anniversary is not a vapor. 40th anniversary is a rich red Virginia. This is 333, my own blend, which I got from the Danish pipe shop, and it's a Virginia with a rum topping. This was done by Jordan, Prairie Pipe Smoker. And it goes with this pipe. He sent me this pipe. We exchanged pipes. He won a pipe in one of my giveaways, and he'd always been coveting a freehand sort of Dublin that I'd made, but that wasn't in the giveaway. But when he won the giveaway, I gave him the option of getting the pipe that he'd been wanting to get, send that to him, and he sent me this, which was very cool. It's a very nice pipe with this tamper to match, which I still haven't smoked. Very, very well drilled. Got some nice bird's eye on it. Which ain't focusing. There it is. Nice bit of cross grain. Nicely done. Which, hey Barry, which blend was that, Jacob? They definitely are. Most of the English factory pipes nowadays are very good value. They're a good budget. You know, some of them really, you know, you can buy on GQ Tobaccos, you can buy a pipe from £7-8 onwards, and you can buy under £50, you can buy a whole host of pipes, whether it's Duncan Briars or Charitons. I mean, the Charitons now, I'm not sure which company makes them now, but they're obviously a much cheaper pipe. They're not the same Chariton of old. Accountant from the Briar Shop in Houston. Okay, what type of tobacco is that? I've never actually had a Vaughan pipe, never. I've been asked that in the past, how come I don't have any? I don't really know. I just haven't seen one that calls to me yet. They got some really, really interesting and wacky shapes as well. Thanks, Barry. I'll be uploading a video, step-by-step video, of the conversion of this pipe. Really came out well, delighted with it. And because it's such a budget pipe, it's a pipe which I'll be happy to just run around with, take it with me in the workshop, take it in the car. It's bent so it's comfortable. Who's that, Philadelphia? Who are you asking if they ship? Greetings, Lord Hogarth. Pre-dinner martini, don't you know, with some Balkan Supreme. A lot of people have given a lot of praise for Balkan Supreme and Balkan Cecchini. I don't think I've tried either. Is Balkan Supreme a Stockerby blend? GQ Tobaccos will ship abroad, but not tobacco, so they will send pipes and accessories. Hey, Rich. Silani Festival, I think that's an aromatic, isn't it? Has it got mango or some other kind of fruit on it, Paul? I've been going at this quite now. It's very tasty. I like twist and strong stuff, but that one got me. Cool. I need to try that Balkan Supreme. I've heard so many good things about it. Piper on the 45. You can smoke. People can smoke quite a lot, but some people smoke 4 or 5 bowls with a filter. I don't. I change mine every single smoke. Yeah, this is the new iPhone. Yeah, it's really doing well, and it's hopefully the sound is better as well. This tobacco is obviously it's hasn't aged or anything, and it's a brand new pipe, but it's got quite a nice spicy retrohale. NJ Piper, how you doing? Hey, Jordan. We mentioned you in dispatches, Jordan. I was using your tamper, and I was showing off your pipe. Just breaking in this Duncan Briars, made in England. Earlier on I converted it to 9mm, and I've done a video of the conversion so you can see how I've done that. It's got quite a nice grain. Got an interesting variation in staining. I don't know if that's the stain or the briar. Sometimes you can get different shades in the wood with briar. I am kind of tempted to sand this down and restain it because it does have some nice grain, but I'll probably resist doing that and leave it as original. So what are you all doing to cope with the lockdowns? Are you all still in lockdown around the world wherever you are? Is the US still on lockdown? Right. Our lockdown's been extended for a few weeks, so we'll see what happens at the end of that. If they start to ease things off or if they continue it even more. You've been working in Canada. B Anansan, how you doing? Welcome. I'm really worried about a resurgence, to be honest. I'm really worried that people could get reinfected, or just that the virus could do the rounds again on people who haven't had it yet. Uh-oh, Barry's used the T word. Well, when anything with an American audience, you're going to split it down the middle, so you takes your chances, Barry. Well, there was a rumour that went around that the schools here in Britain would be going back on the 11th of May, but the government has poo-pooed that and said that that's not true. Well, yeah, that's always a possibility, Paul. Mm. You hear conflicting stuff the whole time. People try to be positive, they try to be optimistic, and they say, yeah, they've got a few vaccines. I mean, here in the UK, they claim to be leading the fray in exploring vaccines, and apparently they've got 2 vaccines on the go under testing already here in the UK. How long that will convert to actually being usable, who knows? They're talking about 18 months, whereas some people are talking about, within, a month or two. So it's really unclear. Yeah, Grob, that's the worry. Once the weather turns, I mean, we haven't yet got to the main sort of summer. I mean, I guess one hopes that the summer will burn it out to some extent. I mean, we were talking today at the table, and my wife was saying that, or maybe my wife or one of my kids was saying that, I haven't heard anything about Africa, about African countries, and one of my kids piped up that, that's probably because of the heat, and the viruses don't like heat. I don't know if that's true or not, or I don't know if it's just because there's no way of measuring it in some of the African countries. But I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. Mm. Well, I certainly think that for the next few years, we're all going to be, hi WV, Jeff. I think we're all going to be, our lifestyles are going to change. Um, just general hygiene, and in Japan they've been doing it for quite some time, where people have been using masks and things like that for quite a long time. They've had certain viruses, they've had SARS around that region and that kind of thing, so they're obviously more worried about it. But I think we're going to all be more conscious about it here too. And I think for the next few years, I think the whole world is going to be more conscious about it. You're not going to have people greeting each other with handshakes or a kiss or anything like that. No, at the moment, there's no evidence of immunity, no. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to be in the summer. I mean, I've got a summer vacation booked in the countryside. We were talking about that today, whether or not we'd be able to go. We've booked it for middle of August. We booked it already months ago, but I don't know if we'll be able to cancel it or not. We'll see. And if the country opens up before then I guess we'd probably go. A new normal will emerge until a vaccine, I think. Once there's a vaccine and people start relaxing, I think capitalism will take over once again. Yeah, a lot of people have mentioned that to me, that they were coming to England. Or to the UK anyway. Hey, Boris. Well, we'll see about that, Barry, I guess. I mean, we were supposed to go away in May for an overnight, like a very short mini break with the kids. I can't see that happening. Four phases before FDA approval. Well, that means it's going to take a long time, isn't it? I'm just wondering if this new iPhone is uploading in a higher... I might have to reset the settings so that it's using less bandwidth. Maybe it won't buffer as much. Late August. You never know. You never know. There's no vaccine for SARS, so how did that stop? I think it wasn't as virulent, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking that maybe I'll downsize the rate of the video. So this 333 is supposed to be a Virginia with rum. I don't really get the rum. I get some form of sweetness. Obviously, it's a new pipe. It's the first time I'm smoking the pipe. It's the first time I'm smoking the blend. And obviously still haven't got the full faculties of my taste and smell either. So all of that does not bode well for a first smoke. But any of you guys enjoy any other rum blends that you can recommend that have got a decent rum flavor? Good quality tobacco? No, I've yet to taste a single blend which has rum in it to actually taste the rum. Royal Yacht. I've never tasted rum in Royal Yacht. Very good, Mike. No, I never got tested. You don't get tested here unless you go to hospital, and thank God I didn't go to hospital. Yeah, well, good night, Barry. Thanks very much. It's 1 a.m. here as well. I'm going to knock it on the head. I don't want to go too late. Rum is meant to be drunk, of course it is. But this stuff, this is a whiskey topping on this one, and it's fantastic. You can really taste the whiskey. Hey, Snoopy. Yeah, doing very well, thank you. Thanks for asking. How are you enjoying that Escudo, NJ? Well, Grobnob, truth of the matter is, you never know until you try it yourself, because we've all got different perceptions and flavours and tastes. But a good starting point is always tobacco reviews. This stuff is available at GQ, Paul. So I'd imagine it's available at all the UK tobacconists. Originally, Ken, that's right. They used to keep it in barrels, and that's why it's called Navy Flake, as I understand it. I'm sure Mike can confirm that, but as far as I know, that's why it was called Navy Flake. Thanks, Snoopy. It's actually quite a pleasant tobacco, considering that it's in a brand new pipe and it's the first time I'm smoking. It's quite pleasant. There's no it's no roughness. There's no rough edges really. It's quite smooth. The black and white, I think I've got an open tin of that in one of my Tupperdoors. I think I did quite enjoy it. But it's been a long time. I can understand that, Pipes and Bees. It's why I use a filtered pipe. It takes away all those irritations and tongue bite. Yeah, it works well with this pipe. It works well with the colouring and the stain. It's got a deep, rich brown stain, and it just works well with it. I did sort of put a few different stems next to it, and this one just looked the best. I considered another churchwarden, but in the end, I've got a few churchwardens now, so I decided not to bother. So which flavours has it got, Paul, the festival? Was I right when I said mango? That's a pretty bold statement, NJ, for a first smoke. Or are you just trying to butter up Mike? Having some serious problems with my computer tonight. Just the mouse clicks don't register. Very, very odd. I don't know if it's my computer or if it's some other glitch. Plum flavoring. Okay, that's a little bit more palatable. Which filters were you, Lord Hogarth? Were you using the Balsa filters or the 9mm filters? No, it's a regular mouse. It's a wired Microsoft mouse. I've had quite a few of these. I just really like them. The Balsa, right? The Balsa shouldn't really restrict your draw as much as the 9mm. The Balsa filters, they're triangular, so they do allow quite a lot of air past the filter as well. So I shouldn't really have an issue. Well, if you're buying from a UK tobacconist, you can get those 25-gram bags. Try them out. Get a selection. At the moment in GQ Tobaccos, you can get Solani 131, which is the one I just bought. I bought a few tins of that. Solani 633 Virginia with Perique, and that in the tin. That's 100 grams, and that's 50 grams. And you've got the aged burley flake, which they don't always have in stock. They've got the silver flake. Yeah, they're well stocked up at the moment. And that's the black and white. See, it's not registering. I'm clicking on it and it's not opening. Now it's opening. I don't know what the story is here. Oh, it's Latakia. Virginia, Black Cavendish and Latakia. The dampness is simply just removing the moisture from the smoke. I don't think it shouldn't really interfere with the draw. I suppose if it got absolutely sopping wet, then maybe, but no, there's really no volume discount at all on English tobaccos. Well, tobaccos that are sold in the UK. And the crazy thing is that when we buy what we consider to be an OTC, an over-the-counter blend, and say compare it to Special Latakia Flake, which we all consider a premium tobacco, they're exactly the same price. Still around £14-15 for 50 grams, and it could be the cheapest, not the cheapest, it's not the cheapest because it's the same price, but the I don't know whether it's Condor or even Clan, you know, the stuff that you'll buy in Sainsbury's and Tesco's, they're all the same price, which is crazy. There's no such thing here as a real OTC because they're all the same price. And OTC, kind of, the idea of it in your mind is that it should be a cheap over-the-counter blend, which is, you know, much cheaper, but it isn't. There is no tobacco which is cheaper. It's all the same. It seems to be all set at the same price. I mean, in the States, for instance, if you compare the price of, say, Carter Hall or Velvet or something like that, half and half, compared to other tobaccos, are they cheaper than other tobaccos? Cheaper, say, than I don't know, McBaron or something like that. I know Canada's bad. You got heavy taxes like we do. Hello from Kuwait. Thank you for joining. I like your handle, 9Lee7 Kuwaiti. Well, I don't know how you pronounce that. But if you want to share your name, please do, so we can at least address you properly. I have had some gold block, didn't like it. I've got a sealed tin of gold block, which John Walker, was it John Walker? Sent me a while back. And it may even be an original. I think he may have sent me an Ogden's gold block, sealed tin. Hey Rich, your name is Salah. Hi Salah. Salam alaikum. Yeah, I was actually trying to imagine it today, Rich, in my mind, what type of shape. Perhaps you give me some guidance, because that's probably my next pipe. I'll probably do that. Would you like something like a stocky billiard, that kind of thing? Where are you travelling from, Lord Hogarth? Are you in the States at the moment? Colorado. You know what they say? They always say the grass is greener on the other side. So here in the UK, we covet the tobaccos that you got in the States, and in the States, you covet the tobaccos we've got here, like the Samuel Gowerth and the Jermaines. In terms of stubby, Rich, I can certainly make it short, but do you like it solid, or do you like it rather a more dainty, lightweight? Do you like to clench, so you want a lightweight pipe, or do you hold your pipe so you get quite a stocky, thick bowl, thick walls, that kind of thing? The shortness is not the problem. I just really want to know if you want something solid, or you want something a bit more lightweight that you can clench easily. That's important to know. And what about filtered? Do you use a filtered pipe, Rich? I hear you, Grubnob. Good night, Terry. Which part of the world are you in, Terry? In the States, I guess, if you're feeding the kids. You're not here in the UK. Non-filtered. Okay. It is cheaper in the USA. In the old days, when I was buying a lot of stuff from Boswell's, I would buy Samuel Gawith blends from them, and I stopped doing that simply because, you know, I got to the stage where I felt that the UK tobacconists really needed our support here, and for the few quid that I would save on an order, I'd just rather spend the money here. And but in the beginning, when I was kind of new to it all, I was like a kid in a candy shop when I saw the prices of the American tobaccos, and some of them were almost half the price. See you, Jordan. No, cobs are not really popular here. I mean, people do smoke them, but I mean, for instance, Stephen Cobbett of the Shire smokes them. But I don't find, you go to a tobacconist, you don't see them that much. You really don't. Without a doubt, briar is the number one material used for pipes here in the UK. You don't really see meerschaum that much, although there are meerschaum pipes around. I would say probably meerschaum is probably more common than cobs even. So you've got meerschaum, mortar. You do see the odd one or two pipes in the shops, but again, it's not very popular. And I think pipe makers stay away from it. I've made a fair few myself, but the problem is that they burn out too easily. The structure of mortar is such that the grain is not as tightly bonded, if you like. So if you have too much heat, it can expand and split the grain, and it can split the pipe quite easily. I was speaking to oh, I can't remember. American carver who did one of the pipes for the sale. Hang on, let me see if I can get it out. Oh yeah, Jason Mouton, I remembered. The Bayou Guru. So he did. He's done a few mortar pipes, and he says the majority of them come back with burnouts. I've sold maybe 4 or 5, and I've had one come back. I gave the guy a new pipe, and I repaired the original one, and I sent them both back to him. So I had no use for the one which was burnt out, and he might as well make use of it. It's not through any fault of the maker. It's just the mortar. It's just some of them are less dense than others, and they can easily expand from the heat and crack. Those grains on the mortar pipes look fantastic, but because they're so distinct, they're also like fault lines, and they can split quite easily. Three nuns? Are you talking about in the States or here, Jeff? Babireki. With mortar, Vordis, it's a matter of luck. I've got a stock of mortar blocks. I'm just not doing anything with them at the moment. I can have half a dozen blocks similar size, and they'll all weigh quite significantly different. The density can vary wildly on the blocks, and that's why the ones which are really, really light, they're not that dense, and they can burn out quite easily. You're in the UK. Is it more expensive here than anywhere else? I mean, is it more expensive than other tobaccos? Well, GQ tobaccos have got 40-gram pouches at $13.25, so it's around the same price as the others. because they're usually about 15, 16 pounds for 50 grams. I haven't smoked 3 nuns for a while. I did have a very old tin of 3 nuns, like a 30-year-old tin, which I bought from Glyn Quelch, the previous owner of GQ Tobaccos. And I'm trying to remember if I sold it or smoked it. I don't remember. I have to look through my Tupperware tins boxes. It was Virginia Perique. I don't know. I think it's Virginia and Kentucky now, isn't it, or something like that? Mike, I'm just reading your email. I'm relieved to hear that, because I've had so many pipes which were drilled off and smoked very well, but I'm so particular and so self-critical when I'm making a pipe that I just didn't want to send it if that was an issue for you. I mean, it's barely off, barely. I'm relieved to hear that. Let's say that. I've heard that a lot, Mike, about the 3 nuns. It was supposedly a very nice, rich, full blend. It still is, actually, from what I recall. It still is quite a rich blend, but apparently it was a lot better than it is now. Sherlock Holmes, never tried those. I've tried Cobbs a few times and never really got to it. Never got to enjoy them. I've had a Dagner one, a Dagner Cobb, a Missouri Meerschaum Dagner Cobb. It sounds like, Mike, it sounds a bit like Cabby's mixture, or what Cabby's mixture is now. Have you smoked Cabby's mixture, Mike? You don't want to buy anything from that museum in terms of Tobacconiana. I find Cabby's quite a rich tobacco, actually. So it must have been really pokey, the original 3 nuns. I've heard people before saying that they picked up a pipe at the Sherlock Holmes Museum and that it smokes rubbish. Those are tourist pieces that, you don't want to buy your tobacco or pipes at a museum. Well, there you go, Paul, exactly. It might have even been you, Paul, that mentioned that about buying a pipe there. If you've got briars, I mean, some people like the taste of cobs, but I think the majority of people use cobs, you know, as pipes that they'll smoke when they're doing something, which they won't be terribly upset if something happens to the pipe. And of course, they're just cheap. So, you know, people can buy a big bag of them for like $20 or $30 for about a dozen pipes. It's great value. Yeah, you can get some custom bits for the Missouri meerschaums. I think Cane Rod does some as well. They've got a name, like a lifelong bit. It's got some kind of name which kind of intimates that it's a bit that will last you. But I must tell you that the Missouri meerschaum bits, when I did try them, I actually found them very, very comfortable. It's a really soft plastic. And I actually found them really comfortable. A bit small, but I did find them comfortable. Forever Stems, thank you, Mike. Yeah, I couldn't remember what it was called, but yeah. I might even have one still knocking about somewhere. There you go. There you go, I've kept the stem like a true eBayer, trying to make you think that they don't know what they're doing. I don't recall what this one's called. This has hardly been smoked. Takes the paper filters. Hey, Brandon. Like I said, very, very comfortable. Even though it's plastic. In some ways, I find it more comfortable than the acrylic ones. You're smoking quite a bit, Chad, don't you? Do they what's the word? Do they ghost cobs? Oh, that's interesting. Well, Grobno, if you're going to get a straight pipe and you're used to bent pipes, you want to get a short-stemmed one, a short stem, because you won't like the gravity pull on the bowl if it's a long stem. Exactly. Chad smokes two blends. One is Burley and Virginia, the other one's Virginia and Burley. Hey Piano, how you doing? Yeah, doing all right, piano, thank you. Mike, I've been smoking this 20th anniversary light flake from C&D. I've had a couple of bowls of it. Despite my not having my full taste, at the moment I still prefer the dark flake. Have you tried the dark flake? I think I did try Ashton's Artisan many moons ago. I still have an original tin of the Ashtons made by McClellan's, of the Ashton Old Church, is it maybe? Something like that. Must be about a 20-year-old tin. I think it's an aromatic, and I didn't really like it. It's still a full tin. Well, I've got to wait until I get my full taste back to really have a good impression of it, Mike, but even as I am now, smoking both of them, I think I still prefer the dark. But hey, Boss Hog, well, there's some tobaccos which I think you'd need an exorcist to get rid of the ghosts. Lakeland's, for instance, a pipe that's had Lakeland's smoked in it for a considerable amount of time, I think you're going to struggle to get the ghosting out. This 333, it's a Virginia with rum. If I jar this up for, say, a year or two for it to mature, will I lose the rum aspect of it, being that it's aromatic? I mean, the Virginia aspect of it will improve, should do. It's not a bad smoke even as it is. It's not necessarily Latakia, it's anything which has got a pungent taste. So Latakia, a pipe which has had Latakia smoked in it for a long time will get a Latakia flavour. A Lakeland, an aromatic. You know, any pipe that's consistently smoked with a particular pungency in the tobacco will ghost it. Yeah, I think any tobacco really. But I think a Lakeland can ghost a pipe in a single smoke. That's in my experience. I've got a pipe which I use just for Lakelands, which I try very, very rarely. And I smoked, I think it was Ennerdale, which is not a heavy Lakeland. But I think I smoked Ennerdale in a pipe once, and that flavour is still there. Oh yeah, definitely, Boris. My pipes are definitely split that way. My pipes are split 3 ways at the moment. Besides for that single Lakeland pipe, which is a separate pipe, but my pipes are split 3 ways. They're split as aromatics, Latakias, and Virginia-based tobacco. So Virginia Periques and Virginias. But something like Erinmore, or Orlick Golden Sliced, which is Virginia but has a light topping, I will smoke in my Virginia pipes. Mike, I've been meaning to ask you actually, if you do get a reasonably priced Castello, which has got a plateau faced, or even not plateau, but just a not a flush stem joint. So in other words, the shank is wider than the stem, so that I could drill and convert it to 9mm. Please bear me in mind. Yeah, I still would like to smoke a Castello pipe one day. So as long as it's drilled reasonably, so that I can convert it, I would really like to do that one day. Thank you, Mike. So how about we do a trade, Mike? The prints for the next time you get a reasonable Castello? Or was that not a fair trade? Well, anyway, wait till you get it, we'll see. We don't seem to get trade shows here at all. I mean, there's only one show, which is the Nottingham, which has now been postponed. But oh, it doesn't have to be new. It doesn't have to be new. It could be an estate one, which is in good condition, as long as it's not Latakia or Lakeland. I'm okay with that. I'd probably have to put a new stem on it anyway. The stems that they seem to use don't seem to have much girth. I did look quite closely at one at Smoking Pipes in Europe, and I was very close to pulling the trigger. But the stem is only 10 mil, so there's nothing I can do with that. Hey, North Country. The ones which I showed the other day, those ones seem to come up somewhere around the $200 to $300 mark. The one with the multi-stain, sort of double stain. Lime scale remover, no. That could probably burn the stem, I think. Yeah, rusticated would be fine. The finish of the pipe is really of no issue to me. I want to smoke it. I'm not that bothered. If I was looking for a very pretty pipe, then fine, but I'm really not that bothered. As long as it's clean, good nick, and drilled okay, I'm okay with that. And preferably bent. Doesn't have to be a full bent, but just somewhat bent. Yeah, absolutely, Mike. Finish does equal grade and price, for sure. Yeah, that's why the $200 to $300 mark ones were rusticated, for sure. I think I showed a picture last time. Let me see if I've got that to hand. Here we go. So that was one that I nearly bought from Smoking Pipes EU. It's a nice little pipe. I'd prefer it to have a wider shank if possible, because that does look like it could crack if it went badly, which is always a risk. I assume you've just sent me an email. Hang on. Maybe not. Do you mean this? This kind of idea. Yeah. Durbar. Did it not come up in any of the new Peterson blends? Hey, Boca. That's what happens when you live by the water. Very, very pretty part of the world, but there's always a downside to everything, isn't there? All right, people, it's 20 to 2. Thank you very much for joining. I've enjoyed my first official London calling. Last week's one was a little bit off the cuff. It wasn't planned. $25 mil would work very well. You sent me a link. Let's have a look. The stem's already 9.9. Okay. Okay, I haven't received it yet, Mike. Did you send me an email, Mike? I'm not with you. All right, never mind. Email sent. Hang on. Here we go. Yeah, so I think I did see this one, but it's not a bent. I prefer a bent. Let's have a look at that. What's the weight on it? If it's lightweight, that'd be okay. $66. No, that's going to be too heavy on a straight pipe for me, Mike. On a straight pipe, I would want to be around the 40 gram mark, 45, maybe 50, but generally under 50 grams. Anywho, hey Jimmy, sorry you've come in at the tail end. We're about to say goodnight. So goodnight Piper on the 45, goodnight Paul the Piper, goodnight Jimmy, goodnight Mike, goodnight Paul the Piper, goodnight Grenob, Josh, Philadelphia Piper, Vordas the Destroyer, Horatio, Ken, Boris the Piper, Boca, North Country Fisher, if you're still there, Myth Lab Larry, I didn't see you, Squadron Leader, I've never enjoyed it, but a lot of people do, and everybody else, thank you very much for joining. It's been a blast, as always, much appreciated. Catch you on the next one. Watch out for my next video, which will be what I did earlier on, converting this pipe, a step-by-step conversion, so if you're interested. Catch you on the next one.